Hey, my name is Darshan, and I play top lane for Counter Logic Gaming, and my pocket pick is Yasuo.
Zyos is going off. He is playing with so much confidence right now.
Oh my God, Zion Spartan! Are you serious?
Spartan and double him, cleaning up the crew.
Yes, Zion
Spartan from the top lane.
He's been practicing this pick since week 1.
Yasuo is kind of those champions where you're in the middle of the fight and you're just waiting for that perfect moment where you can just go in, get that like knock-up ultimate and just kill everybody. It's all about being patient for that one moment in the fight. You know, you're just slowly watching, slowly waiting until you see it. It's all about the movement on Yasuo because he is a super squishy assassin. Even though you're really strong, even though you have your Infinity Edge and you're one-shotting carries, you can't just run at them because you can just get hit by any stun and you're dead. If you're around a creep wave, it's a lot easier to outplay people than if you're not. So that's always something to keep in mind as Yasuo is that when you're dashing through creeps and when you're dodging abilities, that's when you're the strongest. And when you're fighting out in the open, in the middle of nowhere, in the jungle or somewhere where you can't dash through things, it's a pretty bad scenario. I guess the first thing to talk about with the Q is knowing when you can cancel the animation on his auto attack with his other abilities. You just auto attack and then Q as soon as you see the damage land, and that basically makes it so that you do the damage as fast as possible and you're not wasting any time. The other big thing to learn is the knock-up. When it's the line skill shot, the hitbox is kind of wider than it looks. So when you're trying to aim the skill shot, you kind of want to aim it halfway in between their character model and where they're going, because it's really big so that even if it's not completely on them, it'll still hit them. All right, so the next thing I want to bring up is his wind wall, another game-changing ability, I would say. It's really important to think of your positioning in a team fight as Yasuo with your wind wall because you can use your wind wall to just completely mitigate their backline and then just focus on the front line. Another thing you can do with Yasuo and wind wall is denying creeps or freezing. If you want to freeze the wave and there's 4 or 5 range minions, you don't want to take all that damage, you just throw out your wind wall and you can just freeze the lane without taking any damage. You can also use the wind wall to deny creeps. So if somebody's last hitting under the turret and they're a ranged champion, when the turret's about to kill the creep, just throw the wind wall out so they'll miss CS. That's a pretty funny way to use it. So my third tip would be how to use the E. And I would say this is what ties Yasuo's kit together. This is what makes him super mobile. This is what makes him super fun is the E. And I almost always max this ability first because there's a huge cast delay on it in the first rank. And the faster you rank it up, the faster you move around creep waves, the faster you can move through a team fight. It's kind of like a game of cat and mouse with your E. You're just kind of being as annoying as possible where you're just dashing in and out.
Watch out, Zion Spartan. The team is coming to try to kill you. Can you do enough damage to Cruiser before you die? Because basically all that's going to happen flashes. He tries to dash through, but there's so many people to go for. Oh my God, Zion Spartan! Are you serious?
If you're playing against a Yasuo, something to keep in mind is that he's really bad against stuns. For example, champions like Braum and Annie that can kind of just tag him with a stun when he's in a fight, just can completely one-shot him because he's a super squishy champion. Another thing that you should keep in mind when you're playing against a Yasuo is when people get knocked up, he probably wants to follow up with his ulti. So something you can do to completely negate him is you can just either keep him out of range of his ulti, or you can stun him when he's about to ulti so that even though a Gragas flashy ultis and gets the 5-man knockup, it doesn't matter if Yasuo can't ulti off of it, right? So you don't only have to think about the Gragas engage, you can think about stopping the Yasuo before he can ulti. When you're ganking a Yasuo or playing against Yasuo, you should know that he's just gonna try and dash through all the creeps usually to like outplay the gank. So as long as you have that in mind, it's a lot easier to play against him. But if you like don't realize all the ways he can dash through the creep waves and dash through you, then you can very easily get outplayed by him.
Suna a little heavy on the cocoon there, and it looks like he's gonna dash back to the minions. Zion Spartan does it again, but he goes down in the end.
One of the things I love the most about Yasuo is just how much outplay potential he has and how much skill he takes to master. And I feel like that's one of the best things about League of Legends and Yasuo in specific is that it doesn't matter how many games I play. I think I've played hundreds or even 1,000 Yasuo games, and I still feel like every game there's something I can get better at. There's some mechanic I can improve. There's some way I can master the champion further. And I don't feel that way about every champion, but I feel Yasuo especially, you can just get better and better at that champion. I'm Darshan, and my pocket pick is Yasuo. The other way to use the Q is with your E, where you E to like a creep or another champion and then press Q, and then as soon as the cast time goes off, you flash. So then it'll immediately knock up where you flash, and then you can catch even more people off guard.